distracted, right? It will keep you from functioning to the best level or the capacity where you need to function at work because your mind subconsciously is not there. Your mind is somewhere else. So there's a definite direct correlation between your productivity at work along with your worry and concern for safety while your child is at school. And so I thought it was really important to make that connection or that correlation so that individuals know what they should be preparing for with now schools being open to full capacity and our children returning back to the school, to the classroom.
Absolutely. It's a scary thing to think about. I mean, here in New York, they're talking about, everything's back to normal. But Dr. Fauci was on the news saying it's going to be worse than we think. So I really feel like this whole mask wearing and this whole isolation thing is going to be back soon. I'm fearful for my kids and for how how it's affecting everyone.
Exactly. And so, right, adding on to that is like, can you imagine, and you as a parent, you can vouch for this, trying to be at work and do your job. You're interviewing people, but in the back of your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, I hope the kids have their masks on. Like I hope that there's no one inside the class that was exposed to either COVID or the monkeypox. Like you have all these scenarios that's playing in the back of your mind while you are trying to focus on the interview, while you're trying to focus on the job. And sometimes we're human, so we find ourselves lost in our thoughts. And it's like, oh, I apologize, I missed that. Can you repeat yourself? Like, and then that, in a sense, can sometimes come across to another person as you being dismissive, or it can come across to another person as you are not actively listening to them. And it's like, that's not the case. It's just you have these major concerns that's weighing in the back of your mind, and you cannot turn those things off, especially as a parent. It's very difficult. Like that switch never turns off. You may try to dim it down a bit or tone it down, but it never turns off. Our first responsibility is for the safety of our children as parents and as guardians, right? And so, while yes, it is lovely to say, oh, I checked those things at the door when I clocked in. That's just not the reality.
Yeah.
That's not the reality. And so it's important to now, in this day and time, manage what does that look like for the working guardian, and what does that look like in the workplace. And I think it's important for these large corporations, even small businesses, to really start to dig into the environmental interactions, the cultural relationships and interactions within the workplace, and how trauma, whether it's at the workplace or at home, can affect productivity and investment, as well as morale in the workplace.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. And Coach Barnes, just to remind everyone how we can reach out to you before we continue.
Absolutely. You can reach out to me at www.goldminethoughts.com, and you can reach out to me at info@goldminethoughts.com, as well as follow me on all social media platforms, Coach Barnes GMT.
All right. Thank you so much. Wow. And let me ask you just your thoughts and take on how this whole COVID has affected our children and what's in their mind. What do you see happening?
And so what I've seen happening thus far has been a lot of anxiety within children, and it's manifesting itself in their behavior, where it's manifesting itself in a change within how they interact, their ability to function properly, as far as cognitively, their ability to make decisions that impact how they respond to others, because they spent a good year and a half in home, at home, where they were missing those social interactions. And now going back into the school classrooms, it's like it's difficult for them to It's difficult for them to remain socially distant, one. It's difficult for them to process, like, their feelings and their emotions around this new added level of quote-unquote protection for safety, while they're also seeing on the news, oh, it's okay. Some places you can wear a mask, some places you have to, some places you don't. It's like so many different messages that they're getting, and it's difficult for them to code switch between the two. You know, and that plays itself into anxiety. It plays itself into bullying for those who family may believe, like, oh, you know, COVID isn't really real, and you know, and things like that. And so they're making fun of kids who are wearing masks because of their anxiety levels and what their belief around and what their family has taught them about COVID and monkeypox and all these things and safety moving forward. So there's so many little things, little rocks that snowball into this bigger rock of a lack of emotional awareness, understanding and conflict, and not knowing how to manage their feelings. So it's definitely important to address that. And I'm glad you brought this up because I'm actually in the process of creating a teen version to the Loving Yourself Through the Trauma for young adults, so that it speaks of how do they make sense and understand of what they're feeling within school settings, within their relationship with friendships, and, you know, friendships coming to an end, their relationship as it relates to being bullied or being bystanders of their friends being bullied. So I'm in the process of working on that so that parents also have a guide to follow to help their children or their young adults manage those scenarios and those situations.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And we still have just a few minutes left here on the show, Coach Barnes. What else in particular do you want to share?
I definitely want to share that I wish everyone much success. I wish everyone understanding, and as well as and I challenge the listeners to do some self-inventory. Spend 30 minutes identifying your needs so that you can make a conscious action plan of navigating what those needs are, what do you need to do to address those needs, and what relationships you need to either make amends with, let go of, or pull in closer, because you're going to need a better understanding of self in order to navigate through your relationships with others, in order to become the best version of yourself. So I challenge individuals, I challenge all the listeners to spend 30 minutes every other day. It doesn't have to be every day, just doing some self-inventory so that they can become the best version of themselves, especially with the unknown approaching, because we don't know if we're going to shut down again. And if we do shut down, there's a lot of anxiety and depression and so many other things that come along with the possibility of shutting down. But if we don't shut down, we still have those things to address, because we then have worry and concern for our health and safety.
Absolutely.
So definitely do some self-inventory.
Self-care, another important thing, right? Let me just point out, Coach Barnes has been inspirational. She has a gentle but firm push, which caused me to grow and seek more for myself, but with a sense of patience. Reading some of her testimonials on goldminethoughts.com, Coach Barnes restored the faith in me through her skills, which allowed me to fight for the beautiful life I had and I wasn't seeing through my hurt and pain. As a coach, she has my full attention at every meeting we attend. Her energy keeps me engaged in conversation. Her feedback is always honest and upfront, which is important to me. Lots of great stuff to be set up. And there's so many different packages and services you offer. Did you want to share some of that with us and those types of so our clients can, I should say, our listeners should reach out? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So again, I do have on the website, I do have a variety of packages. However, my packages really, those are more like the large, grander packages. It's very important that the individual reach out to inform